What if AI could predict the date of your death? Imagine walking into a doctor's office and getting a printout that says, "Predicted death, September 14th, 2043. How would you react? Would you feel fear, excitement, or even try to make the most of your time left? While it may sound like science fiction, AI is now capable of predicting life expectancy with surprising accuracy. The real question isn't whether AI can predict your death, but whether you'd want to know. In today's video, we're diving deep into this topic. AI's ability to predict your death date. Would you want to know? Stick around as we break it down. The power of AI in predicting life events. AI has come a long way in the last few years. We've all heard about self-driving cars, AI personal assistants, and smart devices that can predict our needs before we even ask. But did you know that AI is now being used to predict something much more profound? Your life expectancy? That's right. Recent advancements in machine learning have created AI models that are capable of analyzing your health data and predicting your mortality date. For example, researchers from institutions like Stanford, MIT, and Oxford have been developing systems that train AI on millions of health records. These models can predict outcomes, like the risk of dying, by identifying patterns that even the best doctors might miss. We're talking about algorithms that can scan through health history, lab results, lifestyle habits, and even imaging scans to find hidden links between your current health and potential future risks. What's fascinating is that AI doesn't predict your death in a mystical or abstract way. It doesn't use crystal balls or tarot cards. Instead, it looks at tangible things like heart rate patterns, changes in behavior, family medical history, and even your environment. AI essentially sees death as a risk that emerges from a complex combination of factors, not a fixed event. One notable example of this technology comes from researchers at 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐢, who used EKG data, heart test results, to predict patient mortality with over 90% accuracy. All of this was based on patterns in the data, patterns that would be impossible for a human to detect without the help of AI. Imagine that, an algorithm seeing into the future, predicting outcomes that doctors can't always foresee. Real-life example. The case of Moses. Now, let's talk about a real-life case that demonstrates the power and importance of AI's ability to predict death. Without the panic, just the facts. In a 2021 study, an AI system flagged a seemingly healthy 54-year-old man named Moses as being at high risk for death within 18 months. At first, doctors were skeptical. Moses had no major symptoms, no obvious health concerns. So how could AI have predicted such a grim outcome? But the AI was right. Further testing revealed early-stage pancreatic cancer, a condition that typically remains undetected until it's far too late. Thanks to the AI's prediction, Moses was able to get treatment before it was too late, and he's alive today. This case is a perfect example of how AI can't really predict your death date, but it can certainly predict risk. The AI didn't hand Moses a death sentence. Instead, it gave him a lifeline. So, if you were in his shoes, wouldn't you want to know? The ethical dilemma. Would you want to know? Let's pause for a moment and ask the big question. If AI could predict your death, would you want to know? It's a question that raises some deep ethical and philosophical concerns. On the one hand, knowing your death date might give you the time to plan, to make sure you've lived your life to the fullest, or perhaps even to settle unfinished business. But, on the other hand, knowing the date could change everything. It could paralyze you with fear or cause you to live with a constant sense of impending doom. Imagine waking up every day with the weight of that knowledge, unable to enjoy the present because your future is already written in stone. Some people argue that knowing could give us more control over our lives. If we knew we had limited time, maybe we'd appreciate the small moments more, chase our dreams, and live with intention. Others believe it could be harmful, leading to anxiety or even life choices that may not be in our best interest, just because we're trying to beat the clock. So, what do you think? Is knowledge of your death date empowering or terrifying? Let's discuss it further. The accuracy of AI predictions. Should we trust it? But before you start wondering about the science behind AI death predictions, let's talk about how accurate they really are. While AI is very good at detecting patterns and predicting health outcomes, it's not perfect. In fact, the technology is still being refined, and accuracy can vary based on factors like the quality of data and the individual's health history. One particularly exciting AI model, known as Life2Vec, was able to predict mortality risk over a 4-year period with around 78% accuracy in a population from Denmark. The model uses a combination of personal data such as employment, location, and healthcare usage to map out patterns that indicate the likelihood of mortality. While 78% accuracy is impressive, it's still not 100%. And that's important to consider. Can we really rely on an algorithm to predict the exact time of our death? Or is it better to just focus on the big picture? That we all have risks, and some of those risks are more manageable than others? As technology evolves, so will its ability to make these predictions more accurate. However, we need to approach these tools with caution, especially when considering their impact on mental health and overall well-being. The dangers of algorithmic bias. There's another huge issue that comes with AI and death predictions. Bias. AI models are only as good as the data they're trained on, and if the data is biased in any way, the predictions could be skewed. For example, if an AI system is trained primarily on data from one population, say, people from a specific country or ethnicity, it may not perform as well for people outside of that group. This is especially concerning when it comes to something as important as life expectancy predictions. If AI is used to make decisions about healthcare, insurance, or even end-of-life care, then we need to ensure that the system is fair and unbiased. Imagine if an AI system predicted that a certain group of people was more likely to die earlier based on biased data. This could lead to discrimination or inequality in the healthcare system, which could have devastating consequences. The future of AI and predicting mortality. So, what does the future hold for AI and mortality predictions? Well, it's hard to say for sure. AI is advancing at an incredible rate, and as we collect more data and develop more sophisticated models, we'll get closer to being able to predict a person's life expectancy with greater precision. But whether we should want that level of accuracy is another question entirely. The fact is, we may be heading toward a future where AI isn't just diagnosing illnesses and making treatment recommendations. It could be helping us navigate some of life's biggest questions, like how much time we have left. But as AI continues to shape our future, it's crucial that we remain vigilant about its impact on privacy, fairness, and our overall well-being. We need to make sure we're using these technologies responsibly, keeping in mind the ethical implications of knowing too much. So, what's the verdict? Would you want to know when you're going to die? Could knowing change how you live your life, or would it just make you more anxious? The ability of AI to predict mortality is both fascinating and terrifying, and it raises questions that we'll have to grapple with as this technology continues to evolve. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video if you found it interesting, share it with your friends, and hit that subscribe button for more thought-provoking content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.